Hello and welcome into the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzetta. Thanks for joining me on this fine football Thursday morning. That's right, we're going to get our first glimpse of Nick Sirianni calling plays. We're going to see Jalen Hurts out there tonight. We're going to see the linebacking core. We're going to be seeing the secondary. We're going to be seeing a lot of the young guys out there trying to make a name for themselves and at the very least, make this roster. At the very least, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Watching some Eagles football, as much fun as you can have in a preseason game, and I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm excited about tonight. Anytime we get to watch the Eagles play any semblance of football, I get a little giddy, get a little excited the morning of the game. You wake up and you just feel, go Birds. It's only preseason. Nah, go Birds anyway. You get to watch the team play. Looking forward to tonight. The Phillies have company in first place right now in the NL East. Unfortunately, they lost to the Dodgers with another rain delay going on. This time it was I actually like this. I like what Joe Girardi did last night. I actually like what he did a lot. I thought it was very smart. I thought it was very knowledgeable of him. I thought it was a good idea to actually stop or not have Kyle Gibson go out there and actually start the game for the Phillies. Instead, wait for that rain to roll on in and then put Kyle Gibson into the game. I'm all for what he did last night, just to get that out of the way. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Alec Boehm. What are you doing, man? I know you don't get that many plays at first base. I know you don't get many opportunities, but now with Rhys Hoskins on the IL, you might be getting a lot of opportunities, and we can't see what we saw last night out of him as a first baseman. We've seen him struggle at third base this year, and now he's taking those struggles over to first base this year. More on that in just a second. We'll also hear from Joe Girardi coming up in just a second as to what went into his decision with Kyle Gibson not starting the game, but rather coming in after two bullpen arms were used in the first and second inning. So we'll make sure that we get to that as well. And although the Phillies now have first place, they have people that are living with them in the first place spot. They're roommates at first place in the NL East. One thing is for certain, I still like Philadelphia a little bit better than I like Atlanta, especially after Rex Chapman, who does a phenomenal job on social media, decided to put this out. I believe this was from Georgia Love. I believe it's a sarcastic account about Georgia and all things that happen in Georgia. Enjoy this to start your morning. You done. I have no idea what started that. I wish I knew what started that. All I know is it happened last night during the Cincinnati Reds Braves game. That who did you have out there? Ozzie Albies went out there and walked it off in extra innings for the Braves. So that's what propelled them in the first place tie now with the Phillies. But that not only was fighting going on during the game and in the game, but fighting was going on during the game and in the stands, or by the concessions at least. Bottom line is Phillies have someone that they share first place with now in the NL East. And look, I have no doubt that Aaron Nola was pitching the best possible game he could have been pitching against the Dodgers. I feel like the Phillies were going to win the first game of this series 2 nights ago. Mother Nature stepped in and said, everyone forget about it, not happening. And then what happened last night? And then what happened? They ended up losing that game because it became a bullpen game after that, and the Dodgers certainly had the edge on the Phillies in that regard, as it proved true with them winning the ballgame. Last night, not to be outdone again by Mother Nature, Joe Girardi said, oh, Mother Nature, let me tell you something this time around. I'm not going to start my starter, Kyle Gibson. Instead, I'm going to go with a bullpen game to start out the game. So what did you see to start things out? First pitcher out of the gate, you saw Connor Brogdon, and then you saw Hector Neris come out and pitch the second inning. You didn't see Kyle Gibson go in until after the rain delay took place. Kyle Gibson ended up giving you 4 and a third innings of work, and he allowed 3 runs while he was in there. I give Joe Girardi a lot of credit for looking at Doppler. I guess he was trained in some regard and said, you know what, I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm not going to make the same mistake. Here's Joe Girardi on at least trying to put his team in the best possible position to win, despite Mother Nature trying to rear her ugly head again.
Felt like we couldn't do what we did yesterday. And yesterday's kind of popped up. because if we only got 3 innings out of Gibby, our bullpen was pretty compromised. So about 6:30, I kind of put the plan in motion, informed everyone involved, and that's what we did.
Love it. Good idea. Good for you, Joe Girardi. That's the way you have to play it, especially when your bullpen was already used a lot the day before. You wanted to see if you could spell them a couple of innings by actually having your starter go more than, 4 innings. Turns out, really didn't work out all that well, considering you had Kyle Gibson start after the rain delay, and Kyle Gibson still gave you, one more out than Aaron Nola was able to do in the previous start when they were interrupted by rain. I think that's still the right call. And let's not forget how many teams around the Major League Baseball you would see actually start their bullpen in recent years, Tampa Bay being one of them. Start a bullpen guy in the first inning, and then you would also see a bullpen guy come in the second inning, and then you'd see a starter come in to try to go for the long haul to close out that game. Some people have had this idea for quite some time. And this actually ended up to the MLB trying to change the rules in baseball, where you got to face at least 3 different batters now before you're taken out of a ball game. So I think that was an interesting thing that Joe Girardi tried to pull off last night. I still would have done the same thing he did, especially after your bullpen got used so much the previous day. Why not give it a shot? You could see if you're a starting pitcher. In this case, Kyle Gibson could give you a couple of more innings from that point on. The bigger issue last night is the aforementioned Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm is maybe destined to be that designated hitter that we have talked about so many times with Rhys Hoskins, that we even talked about a lot with Ryan Howard in his later years here in Philadelphia, where you have to move on and say, all right, maybe this guy deserves to be in the American League. And maybe that DH will rear its ugly head once again in the National League, and that'll become more of a permanent thing. I was shocked this year when they didn't have the DH in the National League, and I thought after last year, all right, they finally came around on that. And I am not a big fan of the designated hitter. I'm just understanding the direction baseball's going anyway, and I think that's just going to be the case in the National League where you have the DH. But until then, Alec Bohm's going to be in the field. Alec Bohm is going to be manning a lot of the hot corner. Alec Bohm is going to be taking over at first base when the opportunity presents itself. And last night, there were 2 plays that a big league first baseman simply cannot miss. One went under his glove, leading to 1 run. Another went under his glove, and that one ended up being a 3-run inning, all looking at Alec Bohm. You can't have that happen. Alec Bohm has been coming around at the plate. He's been doing a lot better ever since he came back up from the minor leagues. You can't see the mistakes that you saw from him. Here's the deal. It's very plain and simple. And really, the last 2 series now have been a perfect example of this. You could get away with the mistakes that you made last night against a team like the Braves, against a team like the Nationals, against a team like the Mets even, certainly the Marlins. You're not going to get away with mistakes like that against a team like the Dodgers. I was going back and forth with somebody on Twitter last night that was saying, because this is what I did. Albert Pujols played in last night's game. There was a fan at Citizens Bank Park I love this, that was yelling at Albert Pujols. This is what it sounded like from what I can make out on the TV broadcast on ESPN. From what it sounded like, the fan was ripping Albert Pujols for stealing MVPs from Ryan Howard in 2007, 8, and 9, I believe they were the years that the guy was criticizing. I always thought Albert Pujols was a better ball player. I think that it goes without saying. I mean, look, the guy's still playing. He started his career before Ryan Howard, is still going on right now. But I always thought that Albert Pujols stole 1 from Ryan Howard, and I believe that was 2008, where Ryan Howard only hit .251, but hit more home runs than Albert Pujols, drove in more RBIs than Albert Pujols. And quite frankly, the Phillies had a better record that year. So I thought he would have been and should have been the MVP. Albert Pujols ended up winning that MVP. But I just love how 12 years later, you still have fans in the stands yelling at Albert Pujols for stealing RBIs. So that started a little back and forth with some people on Twitter last night when I just tweeted that out. And by the way, I even said at the end of it, I love us, that we don't forget that as fans, that we'll always hate Albert Pujols, or kind of hate Albert Pujols, sarcastically hate Albert Pujols for stealing an MVP or maybe 2 from Ryan Howard. So somebody said, why is that on your attention when the bullpen's not good? You need more starting pitching and you have no fielding. And I'm like, what the hell did I say that had to do with any of that? I think anyone watching the game knows Alec Boehm shouldn't be in the field really at any position at this point in Major League Baseball. And the other part is you have a guy like Ronald Torreyes go out there at third base. He's making plays left and right for you. So I'm watching that whole game play out last night. But here's what the bottom line was. In this little conversation I had with this fellow on the social media site, Twitter, he said that you know, we got bigger issues than we thought. Do people really need to be told that the Phillies aren't a team that can hang outside the NL East? What is it? Every team in the NL East, 4 teams in the NL East right now have 55 losses. Like, look at the standings. It's pretty remarkable. The Phillies and now the Braves are the worst first-place teams in Major League Baseball. I didn't need the Dodgers to come into town to tell me that. I had some optimism because he had Aaron Nola going. He had put a couple of good starts together. He has had those streaks in the past that I've highlighted throughout the show over the last couple of weeks of a guy that could go out there and get you, a month and a half of pitching at least 6-7 innings, no more than 2 runs. He could go through those stretches just going on an absolute tear. I was hoping for it. We didn't get it, thanks to Mother Nature. What you ended up having was unfortunately a bullpen game in that regard. And then you had 2 bullpen guys start out the game for you yesterday. I didn't expect the Phillies to win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. If they did, I would have been very impressed, shocked even. But the Dodgers came in and they put a stop to this. Phillies got to get it going again. Hopefully they do that today by salvaging game 3 of this series. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk to my old friend, Hollis Thomas. Hollis Thomas will join the show today. Hollis Thomas, 9 years, Philadelphia Eagles. At least that's what I thought, but we'll get into that with him coming up in a second here. But Hollis will give us the things he's looking forward to in tonight's game. And I'll just let you in on this a little right now. Hollis is pretty excited about Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator of the Eagles. And it seems like he's pretty excited about Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll tell you who he's not excited about at all, and that's Andre Dillard. Doesn't have the nicest thing to say about Andre Dillard. And Hollis also has some very honest words for the Eagles if they do end up going after Deshaun Watson. So we'll cover all that with Hollis coming up in a second. Here's what I'm looking for tonight, and this is what I always tell you guys when it comes to preseason, when it comes to whatever. Anything like this where you're just seeing guys go out there in preseason play in any sport where you're throwing inexperienced guys out there to the fire, and rookies especially to the fire. Just look like you belong. Look like you know your playbook from as much as you've been able to digest so far to this point, as much as you've been able to install so far to this point, as much as you've been able to practice to this point. Look like you know your playbook. Look like you belong on the football field. Don't look like you got the jitters while you're out there. Don't look like you're nervous while you're out there. Don't look like you got happy feet if you're out there playing quarterback for this team. Look like you can play within yourself. Look like you're not too big. Look like the moment's not too big for you. Don't shrink in the moment. That's all I'm looking for tonight, really. I am looking forward to seeing a guy like Zach McPherson, who's been getting a lot of praise. I'm looking forward to seeing Kes Watkins out there, who has been coming up with some pretty big plays throughout camp. And I also find it very interesting, again, that even without the hype, even without the touchdown catch he had from Jalen Hurts in practice the other day at the link, I look at what Darius Slay had to say, and I played that for you yesterday, where Slay just said there's one receiver that's really jumping out to him that really is impressing him, and that's Ugly Kes Watkins. Well, I look forward to seeing some pretty plays from Ugly Kes Watkins coming up tonight, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for that. Now, I criticize this a little bit. I expected Nick Sirianni to be calling plays. Very rarely will an offensive coordinator take over a team as a head coach and not be the play caller, i.e. Doug Peterson being one of them. You have Chip Kelly coming up from the college ranks to call plays here at the NFL level. That was his offense. Of course, he was going to be the guy to call plays. But I was reading this in the Daily News because I knew Marty Morningweg would get plays from Andy Reid and then put them into Donovan McNabb or Michael Vick or whoever it might have been at quarterback, Kevin Cobb, whoever it might have been. And I never liked that strategy simply because why am I calling a play twice when time is ticking off the clock? And the thing that Andy Reid always came under criticism for was that his plays were too long, and saying that just took up 10 seconds in their own right. Saying that to Marty saying that to Donovan or whoever, and then the play actually getting called in the huddle. So really, you're calling plays 3 times. Well, in today's Daily News, I was reading the story by the new Eagles beat reporter, and the story highlighted how Nick Sirianni said in the press conference and I must have just missed this, that Nick Sirianni says he's just going to say a number to Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen's then going to look at the play chart, and then he's going to call that to his quarterback. So if Nick Sirianni is merely just saying a number, 10, 99, 102, and then Steichen's got to look it up, that's still taking time, but at least it's not Sirianni calling the play, then Steichen calling the play in, and then Jalen Hurts calling the play yet again. It seems like a little bit more of a concise plan than I originally thought, but it's still the first time in about a decade we are having one guy make the play call, give it to another guy to give it to the guy that's actually going to be running the play in the huddle. For as well-oiled a machine as the NFL is supposed to be, that just still seems really odd to me, but that's the direction they're going to go. Before we let you hear from Hollis Thomas coming up in just a minute, I do want to tell you about my good friend at Steven Singer Jewelers. That's right, Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut or at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Here's what I like to do. When I have a big jewelry purchase on the horizon or I have a friend who's looking to get engaged, I always send them to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, because every single time you know you're going to get taken care of. I told you a couple of weeks ago, I had two friends going to Steven Singer recently, and they walked out with exactly what they wanted at the price that they wanted. A comfortable price. The perfect price, some might say, because that's what it is. You go to another jeweler, you might be sitting down worrying about the person next to you, whether or not they're going to be paying more than you, whether or not they're getting a deal that you somehow don't know about, or maybe they're a better negotiator than you. You don't worry about that at Steven Singer because Steven Singer puts everything at the perfect price so you know when you walk in, you're getting taken care of. Not just by the price, but also by the Steven Singer family. Real jewelry experts standing by at the ready to walk you through all the inventory and show you what you want to see. Whether it's the Ready for Love diamond engagement rings that are literally right there. Boom, open them up, ready for love. Or you want to get a little bit more in-depth when it comes to buying that special someone, that special piece of jewelry, that special, beautiful diamond from Steven Singer. That's what he's there for. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. So check it out. Do what I do. Hit up Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up here, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, one of my favorite people that I've ever worked with in the city of Philadelphia. He played 9 years, at least according to Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Talk. No, not even that. Which Pro Football is it? Pro Football Reference. 9 years in the NFL, and I think he's going to correct me right out of the gate here. Without further ado, on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, my good friend, Mr. Hollis. If there's kids in the room, there's some language a little bit later on in this interview. That's all I'll say. Here's the interview. Here's Hollis.
I have a slight correction. I played 10 years with the Eagles. Up until this past year, I was the longest 10-year D tackle until Fletcher Cox just passed me, I think.
Damn it. You know what? You got to I thought it was 10, and I went to the, what do you call it, the old Pro Football Reference, and it says 9, those bastards.
Yeah, they don't even have my tackles correct. I had over 600 or 700 tackles in my career.
I'm gonna file a complaint the second we're done this interview. That much I promise you.
You know how they do. They only pump up the people who they want.
You know who's keeping those numbers is that Andy Reid, that guy your mom I think still hates.
Now see, that's the one thing about defense that I enjoyed. There was no Andy Reid over there.
Fair enough. I gotta ask you this. I know you and Quimby do a great job with Green Legion Radio. I saw you guys at the Athletes for Care golf outing not that long ago. We got to chop it up like the old days over there. So what are you telling the good people when it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles season, man? What are you feeling for this season?
I just had the opportunity to go check out practice, and I saw a lot of people have been complaining about what's been going on in practice. I didn't let that deter me because I think I like the way they're coaching. I feel like the guys are going to be coached a lot better. We're going to see a more competitive team. We're not going to be tearing our hair out about the defense because we actually have a defense that they're going to actually, when they blitz, they're going to look like they know how to blitz. And then we're going to get some opportunities to see what a receiving core grow with the actual quarterback who's on the same page as everybody else, who's not just a me first type of guy. Or if this competition beats him out, I think he's going to be a pro and if it happens, it happens. But when you call on him again, he's not going to be that bitch talking about I want to get traded. So I feel like this is a better all around thing for the squad in general because it's more like a team atmosphere. Because when you're on a team, it's like everybody's competing, but we were competing to win. and we compete to make each other better. It's like you don't see nobody like when the other guy was here, he was pissed off because they benched him when you were leading the league in interceptions. And I called him the other guy not because I don't want to mention his name because he did exactly what I knew he was going to do when everybody was bitching him on. No, you shouldn't be giving the card. He went and did exactly what I said. He was going to go get hurt and make us get a bad draft pick. I argue with immense amounts of people about that, but I digress. Let me go back to our squad.
Well, no, real quick. On that note, the news comes out from Shefty earlier today, or yesterday rather, saying that Carson Wentz is probably going to. I'm sorry, that guy. He's going to probably. He's trending towards starting week 1, so we still might get that pick.
Well, he might be, but I don't think he is.
Okay.
It's a foot injury, and a foot injury is finicky, and it's like it's one of those things. Oh, my bad.
What the hell just happened?
I don't know. I wish somebody tried to call me, so I switched it off. Did I come back on?
Not yet.
Hold on a second. There I am. Okay.
We're getting closer.
Okay.
I need to see that bright yellow tankini.
Hold on a second. Let me see. My mom tried to call me. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Hey.
Abracadabra. Hey, everybody's trying to call me. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb, but I was like, nobody really called me. Son of a
So we were talking about that guy, but we were also talking about you seem to like Jonathan Gannon, and you seem to like the training camp that Nick Sirianni's running.
Well, I like it. I like it too because it's more competitive. If you look at things in the past, everybody was given their job. They're not naming any starters, so you can think what you want. You can think you start how you want to, and go up there and screw the pooch, and then somebody else will be in your spot. So it's like, and he has no alliance with anybody, and that's what I like. He just got these guys. He's making everybody fight for their position. When you have good competition, it bodes well because it's not that you're playing scared. You're playing with a purpose, so you don't have to sit on the bench because you don't want to sit on the bench. You're playing for playing time, and that's what football and sports is. That you're trying to put the best people out there to give us an opportunity to win. And if it's not you, sit your ass down and wait for your turn.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And you know what?
Yeah.
You mentioned blitzing, and before we talked, I wanted to go back, and I did go back on my phone because I remember the first show we did together. We were at Finnegan's Wake.
Oh, dear Lord.
And which doesn't exist anymore. And I remember it was the day before Wing Bowl, and they booked us to go there. You came out to the show, and you sat in, and we hosted the show together, and it was loud as hell. Two things I remember. One, it was loud as hell, too loud to do a talk radio show. And the other is that you drew up Jim Johnson's blitzes for me, and you drew it on a napkin. And all it was like a circle for where the football was supposed to be. And then it was 11 arrows going towards the football. And I remember thinking, well, damn, that's aggressive.
That's extremely aggressive. But you want to force the issue. And if you give a quarterback a chance to stand back there and pat the ball around, he's gonna pick you apart. No matter how horrible he is, if you give him that type of time, is that the best quarterbacks are under. You got to make them. You got to make them perform under pressure, and if they can perform under pressure, albeit good, but can you perform under pressure like getting your block knocked off? If you can do that, then we'll play coverage and we'll hit you until you can't take no more. So that you'll have a clock in. So you want to make the quarterback have a clock in his head, I'm not talking about the play clock. I'm talking about when I get hit clock.
Right, from the snap.
Yeah, from the snap, one of those. So it's like one of those things where you want to put pressure, and you rather be on the football field. You rather be feared than loved. So
understood. And you're thinking Jonathan Gannon is going to be more of the aggressive style defensive coordinator than Jim Schwartz was.
Well, yeah, most definitely, because if you look at some of the places he's come from the Indianapolis and Minnesota, and they run their 4-3 style defense without the wide nine. But they want to break some linebackers. They want to put pressure on the quarterback to get the ball out of his hand. Because if you give him time to stand back there and beat you, he will beat you. And it's just like with any other thing. I get tired of seeing 4- and 3-man rushes. It's like, and then we did blitz. We looked like we had not been practicing blitz. It's a game. It's really a chess game. It's a bit of a chess game because you got some of the best athletes in America out there playing. And when you think about it, it's like if I call something that counters your attack, or totally stifles your attack, or I can just call something that forces the issue, that doesn't give you a chance at all. And if you have the personnel, like I think we got some of the personnel, everybody's bitching and moaning about the linebacker position. I think the kid Eric Wilson is going to step into it. I know they're counting on the kid Davian Taylor, and it was lucky that they moved the middle, but I feel like it's by committee right now for what we have, for the money we have and how pressed we are against the cap. I say we got to roll what we got, and I feel like they get enough in the secondary and up front. Obviously, up front has got to take over. Now
I'd love to see that.
Now this is where I think that a lot of the guys up front will be able to flourish, because now everybody doesn't know that it's not always just a 4-man rush. It's not like we're going to the club and we're gonna fight, but we're gonna be the only 4 fight of the 11 fight. Now we're gonna bring some of our boys to the party to kick some ass and take some names. He's as good as Joe Montana. Joe Montana was a quarterback, you stupid. I said Joe Montana.
Yeah, have I said yet how much I miss you? Have I said that yet?
Yeah, I miss you too, man. I was just thinking about it. Somebody was asking me, I think they hired Rob Cherry back, and they was like, "You coming back?" I was like, and they hired Sue W. Shelley back as well. I was like, probably not. Probably not.
So I'm asking some people a couple of the same questions here, and I'm enjoying the different responses. Let me ask you this question. When you watch the preseason, is there anything you can glean from the preseason? Is there anything you can take away from the preseason when you're watching and evaluating a team or a specific player?
Yeah, it's because when I'm taking away from this preseason is I'm gonna see how these guys perform under pressure. Because this is pressure right now. You're trying to win a spot. Nobody's got a spot etched in stone. The first round, only the first round pick, really. And then some of the other ones, your team, he's got no alliance to anybody. There's a whole new coaching staff. So I'm gonna see how they perform under pressure. If they make plays and stuff, it's good for me. I want to see how Jalen Hurts did play in last preseason. I want to see how he plays in preseason, how he takes some of the stuff in. He's only probably going to get the first quarter or something. But I'd like to see how they do. I want to see what type of, you got to build some continuity with this team because it's an entire new system. Mm-hmm. So you got to build some continuity. I want to see my defense go out there and stifle, get some 3-and-outs, possibly some turnovers. I want to see them haul ass to the ball. I really want to see our defense. I don't want to let too much on in the preseason as far as blitz packages, but I want to see something that lets me know that they're getting better at blitzing, bringing blitzes and disguising blitzes and disguising coverages, so the other team doesn't know where we're in. We don't give up 10 and 12 play drives after our offense has been on. After our offense went on just like a little tear, you like to get your offense the ball back, like either on a turnover or a quick 3-and-out. Get them so they can get on a roll, because offense needs reps in games in order to build some continuity. If they don't get that, every time they score, you let the other team get a 10 or 12 play drive, and they might not score. They might get a field goal, but then the offense is cold because they've been sitting on the side for 10 or 12 plays. Right. Get a 3-and-out, maybe a 3 or 4-and-out or something, and get an offensive opportunity to get something going. And I think that's how we're going to win some games, because I think the coaching staff is going to actually run the ball, and then I think they're going to run the ball mainly to keep the team off balance. We were like last year, the year we went to Super Bowl and won, we ran the ball like only 48% of the time. Everybody thinks I'm talking about running all the time. No, but the other team can't know that you passing every damn play. It's kind of like the opposing defensive lineman getting his stance, and he's in the elongated stance, and so the offensive lineman across will probably say, "How you know we gonna pass? How you know we ain't gonna run the ball? We gonna run the ball." He's like, "I'm not here for the run. I'm not here for the run." and so I feel like we'll be able to do some things so we're not predictable.
Okay, easy enough. And then this last thing that I'm asking people, everybody, this is the last of the generic questions I'm asking everybody here.
Okay.
Who will start more games for the Philadelphia Eagles at quarterback? Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco, or Deshaun Watson?
Jalen Hurts.
Woo-hoo-hoo! And you said that with some stank on it.
Joe Flacco is a good backup, and I like that as a backup. And I agree. As a mentor for Jalen Hurts. But you got to get a young buck the chance. And Deshaun Watson, I'm not bringing 33 33 people have alleged some sexual misconduct.
23, no?
No, I thought it was 33. It's 33.
Whatever, it's way too many.
5.
Jesus.
So the thing with this is you go out and you do that. You totally screwed your entire team because you betting on one guy who's not going to be available. Mm-hmm. He's not gonna, you think he's going to be available? Soon as they find some more concrete evidence other than him soliciting chicks on Instagram, his ass is going to be in a vice. And then you sit there looking stupid because you turned your back on everybbe else.
Right.
Because you thought, and I think everybody's just looking for clickbait right now. I don't think nobody's looking. They may have acquired once or twice, but I think Adam Schefter's like, his little short ass is just looking for quick clickbait. I'm sorry. It's like, because if the Eagles are looking at Deshaun Watson, they need their ass kicked.
I'm on board with you. Mm-hmm. I don't want them trading for Deshaun Watson. I rather at least, and I've been saying this for months, I rather at least just give Jalen Hurts the year, see how he does. Yep. And if it doesn't work out, you at least have the 2 first-round picks. You're going to have a high second-round pick most likely. And if you don't have a high second-round pick, you're going to have 3 first-round picks. So you can do whatever the hell you want after this. Why roll the dice on Deshaun Watson?
Exactly. Why roll the dice on somebody? Okay, he was decent in what he was doing, but he's a train wreck off the field. I mean, I can't. It's like at some point somebody's going to have to say. Everybody keeps talking about bringing somebody with problems in here, and everybody keeps on bringing up Michael Vick. Michael Vick problems had already been solved by the time he came here. His stuff is already gone.
Yeah, he paid his debt
to society. When you bring somebody in here, excuse my, I'm not going to use that crap needs to be taken care of.
I'm with you
already. So it's like when you start a new slate, you start a new slate. You don't bring that extra crap with you, because then now we got to deal with it. Ask the question. Well, I don't know who he was touching.
Well, I will say this. I will defend Adam Schefter, or as you call him, the short little guy, whatever you called him. You watch him out there, Hollis.
Hey, by the way, you used to work with Mike Mayock, right?
Yeah.
Who's got a job?
They both have jobs.
Yeah, but who's got a job with the NFL team now?
Oh, that'd be Mike Mayock.
Okay. And then he also worked with Louis Riddick, who's been considered for a job now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of people want him to take over for Howie eventually.
Yeah, but the funny thing is we've been looking at Todd McShay and Mel Kiper's hair for eons on end, and I've never took any of their opinions that serious. It's like that's why I watch a lot of college football myself, and I research people myself because I think too many times people are enamored with the big time athlete in college instead of actually when you interview a person or you see a person play, and then you get a chance to see them in interviews and stuff. You should know if that person wants to play football or if they're just looking to get to the NFL. Like, okay, I've arrived. I don't need to do anything else.
Right.
Kind of like Big Pudding. You know who Big Pudding is?
No, who's Big Pudding?
Andre Dillard. Big Pudding. He's soft and tender.
I got a bad vibe from Andre Dillard for his rookie year. No. I'm gonna tell you. His rookie year. I'm gonna tell you when I had a bad vibe. If you don't want to talk to the media, I have no problem with you talking to the media. First off, your old teammate Trey Thomas told me that he tried giving Andre Dillard some coaching tips, and right. Andre Dillard wasn't all that responsive.
Well, do you want to know when I knew Andre Dillard was a Big Pudding?
When you watched him in college?
Well, no. No. In the one-on-one pass rush versus number 95, who eventually got cut, he dogged him. I'm talking about whooped his ass. Mm-hmm. Undrafted free agent. I'm talking about put his foot in his ass to show his insides and stop. I'm talking I was like, I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be a fight. It needs to be a fight, and he did it time and time again. Case in point, when they tried to say that it was when you have a battle between two people, somebody's got to be fighting too. That job has been doing a lot of since the word go.
I'm with you. 100%.
Okay, in practice, I don't know if you've seen some of the footage, but Josh Sweat made sport of him in one series, and he was with the third team. They talk about he's got a sprained knee. He's got sand in his vagina. He's got a pebble stuck right there. And
Have I mentioned how much I miss you?
I miss you too. But it's like, if you look at the interviews, he's like, yeah, I'm tough. He looked like he wants to say, I'm tough, and you guys just don't know it yet. You don't even know you're tough. His heart is not in it.
You have the most beautiful way of putting anything ever. I got to tell you that, my friend.
I'm sorry. I hang with man. You hang out a lot.
Before I let you go, is it possible?
Okay.
Can you give us a quick little tour of your SpongeBob collection?
Okay, that's my SpongeBob collection. I'm sending you for a tour. Okay. You see my
that's incredible.
You see my fish tank?
I see your fish tank.
See, there's SpongeBob on the fish tank. And see, there's SpongeBob over there in the corner. Other corner. But see, I also have the Eagles.
Oh, you got to have the Eagles.
There's a young lady who drew this picture of me. It's called Return of the Tank. I don't know if you can make it out. It's when I hit Vic on the goal line. She drew it for me. It's quality art.
That is quality art.
I just moved over it, so I'm still getting things together.
My man. Hollis, you can always catch Hollis Thomas. My friend Hollis Thomas. You can always catch him Green Legion Radio, also Fox Sports Gambler right here in Philadelphia. So make sure you check him out right there. Tank, great catching up with you, brother.
Before you let me go, it's Fox Sports Gambler 102.5 FM and iHeartRadio. You can download me on iHeartRadio. It's on Fox Sports Gambler. Get Tech Happy Hour is also under Green Legion Radio because in order to get all of this that you're getting, they had to do a separate show with just me and Quibi so that I could talk a lot of crap. So
there's a couple of things you do really well. I'll leave the other things off the list, but the two things: talk crap and make radio gold.
I thank you, appreciate you, brother.
Also, the Green Legion trips, right? Go to greenlegion.com.
Yes, go to greenlegion.com, and all the trips are listed. We are going to the Bahamas on Eagles bye week. You had to go look at it and talk to Quibi. It's the first week we're down in Atlanta. It should be awesome.
My man.
And then Atlanta, and then the home game. We got actually Green Legion Radio. We will have a current player each week Thursday night at the Finn, Crab du Jour. Thursday night, you're welcome to come down there for a tasty meal and say what's up. We have a different player each and every week on Thursday night, live on Fox Sports Gambler, baby.
There you go. Go. Tank, great catching up with you, my friend. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, to say the least, my man. Thanks so much.
Busy evening. Good things.
The great Hollis Thomas joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Thank you, Tank.
No problem.
Where was that sand? I couldn't place it. I didn't hear it. We broke up for a second. What? That's analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I do love that man. Hollis Thomas joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. I didn't get to say exactly when I felt like Andre Dillard wasn't the guy. And by the way, I'm really looking forward to reading all your comments. Andre Dillard, his rookie year was just taken in the first round. Everyone's kind of waiting to talk to him after his first, I believe it was mini camp session. And that conversation happened between him and Trey Thomas, where Trey was trying to give him a couple of pointers. And he said he just kind of looked at Andre Dillard in the eyes, and Andre Dillard was either disinterested or wildly distracted at the pro game, at a practice. So Trey felt like he had to kind of back off for a second and be like, all right, young fella, you get acquainted, you get your feet wet. I'll be here with some knowledge if you ever need it. And that was kind of the vibe that Trey got at the time. Then maybe a couple of practices later, I go into the NovaCare complex to talk to some players, and Andre Dillard's one of them. And usually this is how it goes down. You'll go up to a player in the locker room, usually right at his locker, or maybe you catch him coming in where you're asking him if he's got a minute to talk. And a lot of times players will say, most of the time they're like, yeah, what do you got? And you'll talk to him for a minute. Or they'll say, I got to go lift, or I got to go get treatment. I can't talk today, hit me up tomorrow, whatever it might be. Andre Dillard did something I hadn't seen yet in 13 years of going into a locker room at the professional level. Andre Dillard gave me one excuse, another reporter another excuse, and a group of reporters another excuse. Give us like 3 or 4 different excuses. And I tweeted out each excuse simply because I thought it was funny, not because I wanted to rip the guy. But basically what happened was like, hey, Andre, can I talk to you for a second? He's like, oh, I got to go eat. And then I was at the locker with everybody else. He's like, I got to go lift. Then later on, 3 other reporters tried to talk to him. And I believe he said he had to go to film study. And all of that was within 5 minutes. So he had a very busy next 10 to 20 minutes of whatever the heck he was actually doing, when in reality, I just think he didn't want to talk to the media, which also, by the way, is a perfectly acceptable response. I don't want to talk today. Okay. And I was looking at it, I was like, this guy's head is spinning. And when I talk about guys looking like they at least belong in preseason play or at practice, that was one of the first things that went off in my head. I was like, this guy's a little in over his head, and he's got a lot to wrap his head around. And he's coming out of Washington, if you remember, which isn't exactly the biggest name school in the land. It's not exactly on ESPN every single night. We're not watching to see what Washington State's doing or Washington's doing every single night. That's not what we're doing. So Andre Dillard goes out there and goes through the locker room and just doesn't want any of the attention. And I just thought that was a really odd thing. And then sure enough, we haven't really seen any flashes of Andre Dillard and how dominant or lack thereof he could be at the NFL level. So I'm not shocked at all that Jordan Mailata has been winning this left tackle battle, if you even want to call it that, going away. And I'm not that shocked. Unfortunately, the guy got hurt, and that's what happens. It's football. It's a rough sport. But I don't think he's really going to do anything to lay any claim to any offensive line position on this Eagles team while he's here in Philadelphia. And in fact, if you do see a trade for Deshaun Watson, I wouldn't be shocked in the least bit if Andre Dillard is at least a throw-in in that deal. Now, speaking of Deshaun Watson, Hollis said that if the Eagles go after Deshaun Watson, they need their ass kicked. The man does not mince words. The man does not live on a fence. The man makes a decision when he's making an opinion. I love that idea. I think it just, I know a lot of people just talk, oh, if you're just talking about football, then he's this. But yeah, we're not just talking about football. We're talking about the mentality of a human being and whether or not that guy can be trusted with your franchise. And giving up high draft picks, possibly 3, as the big news from yesterday was that Adam Schefter put it out there for the world to know from Chris Mortensen that it looks like Carson Wentz will be ready to go come week 1 of the NFL season. Things are trending in that direction. So the 70% of the snaps and the 75% of the snaps for the Indianapolis Colts, if Carson Wentz does play that many snaps, that percentage of snaps, that first-round pick that second-round pick will conditionally convert to a first-round pick. So things are trending in the right direction as far as that goes. Do you really want to give up 3 first-round picks and possibly a guy in Jalen Hurts that I think can play at the NFL level? Do you want to give that up for a guy that is a complete unknown off the field? I don't. I'd rather just stick with Jalen Hurts, as I've been saying, and use the picks. The one sports opinion I gave you while riding around on literally my high horse was that I did not want the Eagles to trade for Deshaun Watson. Instead, give the tryout year to Jalen Hurts, see how he fares, see how he grows with this young receiving core. And guess what? If you don't like it, you're going to have an open bank vault in terms of assets to go out there and get whoever you damn well please next year or in the NFL draft as well. This is not the year to make that trade. So please, Eagles, don't make that trade. Thank you, Hollis, for being on my side. Make sure you follow Hollis on all his social media platforms. See you guys hitting it up in the chat regarding Hollis's Instagram account. It is fantastic. There's really nothing else I can say. It's great memes and a lot of watching Maury Povich, You Are Not the Father. It's hysterical. Treat yourself every once in a while. Let me tell you about my friends at Rothman Orthopaedics. We got some big stuff planned for football season with Rothman Orthopaedics. Remember the old you? The one who didn't have to put up with a fickle hip? How about a finicky knee? Or maybe a shoulder that no longer does exactly what a shoulder should do. The Rothman approach to orthopedics is here to get you back to being you. Back to running, walking, working, and playing. Back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. How about our friends at Steak and Maine? My man Tony Cavada hooking it up at Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland. Whether you're down in a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that and an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com for more information. Speaking of great social media accounts, you guys have seen me use Tony Cavada's Twitter account, Tony Cavada Steak and Maine. Make sure you check that out, as well as Instagram for all the great stuff they got going on at Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. If you're having trouble following some of our sports teams right now, most notably the baseball team, with the way things have gone down the last 2 games in this series against LA, well, guess what? You need to be following it all across PHLSportsNation.com. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Let's jump on into our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. I apologize. Usually, if we're running late, I acknowledge it right out of the gate. I don't know why I didn't. I'm a big fat idiot. My apologies. I'll tell you why we were late today. My camera here is on a tripod. And I have the tripod set up every day, and I put it down every day. I set up the tripod every day. I put it down every day, simply because, I like to see the TV that's behind it while I'm working down here. And here's the deal. For whatever reason, the tripod was not staying in position. So I literally duct taped my tripod in the right situation, in the right position, so that we could bring you the show today. And I had to think fast. I had files loading for the show. I mean, how could I not just go out there and show you 2 chicks fighting at a Braves game? How do I not show you that? I'm not doing my job if I don't show you that today. So I was loading that video up, and I was trying to fix the tripod at the same time. So that's why we were a couple of minutes late today. I think 5 minutes late, which is an atrocious amount of time late. Seriously, I apologize for that. Mally and Dan, you guys were hitting me up with that. I appreciate you keeping me honest. What else do we have here? Luigi's checking in. Good morning, Luigi. Mally, Dan. Who else do we have? Matt's checking in. Tank season. Dan, what is it not tank season? I'm being given special instructions here by Luigi. Fars, can you give Benny a shout out on the show? Check in case he's converted to the podcast, and he'll know we're worried about him, and we're 18 hours away from filling out a missing persons report. Okay. I don't know where Benny has been. Benny, if you're out there, find it in your heart, some way, shape, or form, to comment, hit us up on Twitter, hit me up wherever, and just let us know you're okay. We're worried sick. Luigi goes on to blame Mike Sealski, because, of course, he does. Inside the Versus checking in with a helpful reminder that Adam Kaplan will be joining the show tomorrow. Be interviewing Adam Kaplan to talk about how the starters looked in Game 1 of the preseason. Look forward to that conversation with Adam Kaplan. And another very special guest should be joining. We're going to double up on guests tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Mosher will be joining the show sometime in the not-too-distant future. Mosher's great. I always love talking to Moshe. Greg is just saying, let's go. Dan is saying, yeah, bring it in, Cap. Oh, brother, Adam Kaplan, of course. Hollis Instagram is better than F. Jerry. F. Jerry is a phenomenal Twitter account, or excuse me, Instagram account. Matt is saying that Hollis is better, and I would not say you're far off at all. Truth, 100% of memes all day. That is great. You're right on that, Dan. Mally is saying Hollis's IG is a thing on its own. You're damn right it is. Taylor, humble brag. I read the newspaper. Oh, just kidding. I was going to say, yeah, who's reading the newspaper? As I still read the paper. I read it on my phone. But I do enjoy, like I almost got, when I was on the flight to Colorado, I almost got a newspaper for the way out there. Just because I know I don't have to charge it. I know it's just, but I got to worry about folding it properly when I want to put it away. But it's just I just like the newspaper. I still like the feel of the paper in my hands every once in a blue moon. I can't remember the last time I actually held a newspaper, but I do like the feel of it when I actually have it in my hands. April's in. What's up, April? Spark it up, Marc, in honor of Benny. I'm just giving Benny a shout-outs. What else do we have here? Game day. You're right, April. It is game day. Dante's in on the chat. What's going on? Dante's just listing people to say hello to. I love that. Mally's saying Hollis is the porn father. Okay. Language. I did warn you about the language. Captain America. April, you're the best. Julian, what's popping? April saying, I think it would be only fitting for Hollis to be a regular on Wednesdays. Hollis is hump day. So we get them a day earlier and call it Hollis' Hump Day. Hughes Days and Hollis Hump Day. Kind of like the ring to that. Brought to you by Delilah's. Anyway, producer Jim's getting shout-outs as per usual, and deservedly so. Matt's back in the chat. What's going on there? A lot of people loving up on Hollis, and we're not the first to love up on Hollis. I can tell you that much. April's back in, loving the honesty from Hollis. Yeah, Hollis is nothing short of honest. And April, I saw you like the sand comment from Hollis as well. People are calling it a Cribs episode with Hollis showing us around his amazing, if not glorious, SpongeBob SquarePants collection. Thanks to everybody that checked in on our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. And all the great people. You guys are just awesome. Brian, what's popping? JD, what's going on? Appreciate you guys chiming in on the Steak and Maine social media check-in for today's show. Let's jump in now to our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. I was looking over some numbers before the show today, actually last night when I was watching Alec Bohm butcher baseballs at first base. And Alec Bohm, if you remember, started out the season over the first 2 months batting around 204. 204. This is a guy that led almost all of Major League Baseball in runners and hitting with runners in scoring position last year. As a rookie, was the runner-up in the Rookie of the Year conversation. This year started out extremely slow. Since then, since those first 2 months, he's really turned things around for the Phillies. And I didn't even realize this. Alec Bohm is second on the Phillies in at-bats. So they're giving him every opportunity to sink or swim this year, his sophomore season in Major League Baseball. So after hitting 204 in the first 2 months of the season, since then, listen to these numbers. 329, 296, and 273 has been what he has been batting over the last 3 months of the season. That's pretty impressive for a guy looking to turn it around after hitting 204 in the first 2 months. The only problem is the on-base percentage has not been there at all. The power numbers have not been there at all. He's got 7 home runs this season, Alec Bohm does. 4 of them are against left-handed pitching. He's hitting over 300 against left-handed pitching this season. So he might be one of those guys that you see in a lot of platoon roles later on. But right now he's starting to turn it around, and I want to see him continue to do that as a hitter. In the field, look, he's never been a good defensive third baseman. And then you put him to a position he's not all that familiar with at all at first base, and guess what? He's not going to get better, defensively speaking, in that regard. It's a worrisome thing for me when I see Alec Bohm in the field in general, moving to a position that he's not all that comfortable with at first base, for instance. And Brad Miller's not known for his glove at first base either. He made a nice play the other night. But Alec Bohm needs to find a way to improve in his fielding fast if they are going to stay atop the NL East, if not just splitting or sharing the NL East with the Braves right now, as both teams are in first place, as I mentioned earlier. So hopefully Alec Bohm will be able to turn things around. Ranger Suarez gets the start today for the Phillies. 1:05 start time, Citizens Bank Park, as the Phillies do something that is one of my favorite phrases, salvage game 3. Salvage a game in this series against the Dodgers. So let's hope that they are, in fact, able to salvage a game against the Dodgers. And by the way, the Dodgers starter yet to be determined. So maybe they got a bullpen game coming up. All I know is they miss Walker Buehler. So cool. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, guess what? Bonus me today. Coming up today, later on Fox 29, I'll be joining Alex Holly and Mike Jarek, talking about your Philadelphia Phillies and also talking about the Eagles going into their first preseason game of this preseason. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. My thanks to Buzz Sports and Entertainment, because this is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Make sure you hit subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and also hit subscribe on YouTube as well. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.